Hello there, duelists. I don't really like redoing profiles when not much of a deck has changed. Seeing kind of incremental change can be interesting, but the real fun comes from, new support really. So I was kind of torn when Sunavalon got a new card in Burst of Destiny. One card doesn't normally change a deck much, right? Well, in my opinion, it makes a much mightier tree here. So let's get out those climbing tools and see if we can reach the top. Okay, so let's meet the seeds. So we've got 3 genus Loci, so this is the normal ones that literally everything revolves around. If you just have this, you've kind of got full combo, which is pretty nuts. So you it doesn't do anything, but you need it. We've got 3 Sunseed Shadow, which I think is one of the cards where I think now we just need the normal monster. This has become a lot less relevant. You can special summon it if you control the normal monster, and you can banish it from your graveyard to target a link 2 or lower Sunavalon or Sunvine link monster, and special summon another one from your extra deck to his own link monster points to. I've definitely, thought about dropping this. Maybe a Rose Lover, because sometimes you've got cards in hand that you really don't want to have in hand. I don't know if that's actually adding more inconsistency than less. But yeah, it's worth pointing out. And then finally, the last Sunseed monster we're playing is Sunseed Twin. So this has got another graveyard effect where you can banish it and a link monster you control to special summon a link monster from your graveyard where you have more than one of the same name in your graveyard. But its main effect that we're using is when it's summoned, you can target the normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. From there, we're playing a small Rikka package, so we're playing 1 Primula, 1 Mudan, and 1 Snowdrop. So Primula special summons itself. I'm butchering these names, I can feel it. Special summons itself if the monster's tributed. Mudan can add a spell or trap card and can special summon itself by tributing a monster. And Snowdrop tributes a monster to special summon it and a monster, another plant type monster in your hand. This can make all plant type monsters on your field the same level as one that you've targeted, and the other 2 I think can increase or decrease levels. I'm not quite sure. You never use that effect though. From there, we're running kind of some generic plant support. So we're running 3 Lonefire Blossom, which can be anything you want. Normally it's the normal monster, and then we're running 1 Laurel, 1 Spore, 1 Rose Girl. So these are kind of generics. Spore and Laurel are crucial to the combo. Rose Girl you could take out, but I think it's a really good way of kind of extending. So if a plant type monster is sent from your field to your graveyard, you can special summon Rose Girl. If it's in your graveyard and you control plant type monster, you can add it to your hand. You can only use 1 of those effects per turn. It's a tuner and it's level 3, which is quite useful and it's versatile. But yeah, again, you could definitely warrant the chop. Laurel, if you control more life points than your opponent, you can special summon it, which is key. And then if it's sent to the graveyard, you can gain 500 life points, which again is absolutely crucial. Spore, you can banish a plant type monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and it gains the level of the monster that you've sent to the graveyard. You can only use that once per duel. A couple more generics, so we're running the 1 Carrotweight Champion and the 1 Mardel, and these 2 are also crucial to the combo. So Carrotweight Champion, you can send a plant type monster from your field or from your field or your hand to special summon it from the graveyard. And Mardel, when it's summoned, you get to add a plant type monster from your deck to your hand. And then finally, we're running 3 Effect Veiler. You can choose to run whatever hand trap you want. You probably have more space if you wanted to trim down the plant engine, cut those seeds, maybe cut the Rose Lover. You could, Rose Girl. You could definitely add a few more, hand traps if you wanted to. Okay, so let's go through the spells and traps. So running 3 Forbidden Chalice. Great defensive card. It's good going first or second. Target 1 monster on the field, gains 400 attack, its effects negated. You could obviously run infinite permanence, but I'm trying to keep this on the wallet friendly side because I think it is actually fairly budget. Running 3 Unexpected Dai, so special summon a normal monster if you control no monsters, and then 3 Painful Decisions, so send a normal monster from your deck to your graveyard, add a normal monster from your deck to your hand. We need that normal monster, and these are a great way of kind of baiting out like Ash Blossoms and stuff like that, to kind of start the game, I suppose. Then we're playing Sunvine Sowing. So this card is, the kind of card that's really enabled Sunavalon to kind of minimize, outside extender and the support. Because before this card, we needed Trip Clown or Zephyros in order to kind of make our plays go off. Now, We don't need those at all, and that's why it becomes a 1-card play. So, Sowing, you can special summon a Sunseed monster from your deck. If you do, take 1,000 damage. If you don't control a Sunavalon Link monster, you can only summon the normal monster. So you can use it as a play starter. I wouldn't. You want to be adding this and playing it once you've got, you know, your first Link monster on board. You can also banish it from the graveyard to prevent the destruction of a Sunavalon Link monster. So from there, we're playing 2 Sunvine Shrine. I think you could cut this to 1. It's not needed at 2. I like it at 2. I think it gives you extra extension, so you have to send a card from your deck from your hand to the graveyard in order to activate it. You can special summon the normal monster from your graveyard once per turn. And you can also send it during the end phase to set a continuous trap card. It almost never comes up, but I suppose it's worth bearing in mind. And then 3 1-offs, we're running 1 Rikka Glamour, 1 1-for-1, and 1 Call by the Grave. So this is our, you know, kind of final copy of our normal monster. Call by the Grave's hand trap, kind of, I suppose, prevention, support, whatever you want to call it. You could obviously run, you know, Cross Out Designator. You know, this is a fairly heavy combo deck, and I think you do probably have the space to squeeze in a bunch of, you know, kind of one-offs for those call, you know, for the Cross Out Designator. But obviously, it's quite expensive. You know, you're going to double the price of the deck basically. Rikka Glamour is really kind of one of our kind of engine cards, so you can add a Rikka monster from your deck to your hand, and if you tribute a monster on the field, you can also add a monster of the same level, which means you can add Primula and the Carrotweight champion. From there, we've got the same traps we were running previously, so the Blessed Winds and the Sunavalon Bloom. So Blessed Winds have got a bunch of different effects. You can send a plant type monster from your field to the graveyard to gain 500. You can shuffle a monster from your plant type monster in your graveyard back to the deck in order to gain 500, which is I think the one that we're actually using the most, and that's because we burn through like 14 cards in our kind of play, which I don't like at all. But Blessed Winds is actually crucial to get on field in order to keep, you know, to keep you in the game past turn 3. And then finally, you can pay 1,000 to special summon an Amorphage card back from the graveyard, which does come up and is fairly decent. Sunavalon Bloom, when it's activated, you can negate all your opponent's monster effects, and during damage calculation, you can make a Sunavalon Link monster gain attack equal to the monsters that it's pointing to. So again, solid. These are kind of the cards that we're going to at the end of our combo lines. Okay, and finally the trees we're growing into. So 3 Sunavalon Dryas. So I think I bumped this up from 2 to 3 this time round. It's just so crucial, and I think in some combos you do end up going through all 3 of these little trees, you know, to get to your end board. So so you can use any level 4 or lower plant type monster, but you only really want to be using the normal monster, because if you do, you get to add a Sunvine spell trap card from your deck to your hand, and that's going to be Sowing almost all of the time, unless you already have it. And then Shrine then on after. If you take effect damage, you can gain that much life points back, and then special summon a Sunvine monster from your extra deck. It also can't be targeted for attacks, but it doesn't prevent your opponent from attacking directly, which I think a few of the Sunavalon, in fact I think most of the Sunavalon cards actually do. From there we've got 2 Sunvines, so we've got Sunvine Healer and Sunvine Thrasher. Thrasher is definitely cuttable. I've toyed with it being in and out. I think there's about 2 flex spots in this extra deck. Sunvine Thrasher is one of them. It gains attack equal to, when it's summoned, it gains attack equal to a Sunavalon monster with link rating times 1,000, so it gets pretty big. And if it destroys opponent's monster by battle, you get special summon it to your field. Healer, when it's summoned, you can gain life points times 300 equal to to a Sunavalon link rating monster. I've nailed that. Absolutely bow on the money. Bow on the money. Anyway, what it does is it boosts your life points when it's summoned, and that's kind of all it does in what we're using it for. From there, we're playing 2 Aromaseraphy Jasmine. So Jasmine is absolutely crucial. We go through both of the Jasmines in our combo. Tribute monster it points to special summon a plant monster from your deck, and then if you gain life points, you get to add a plant monster from your deck to your hand. The first effect is once per turn, but the second effect isn't, which means if we've got 2 on board, we gain life points, we get 2 searches, which is the crux there. From there, we're playing 2 Melias. So Melias, again, it's got kind of that can't be attacked. When it's summoned, you get to special summon the normal monster back from your graveyard, which is great because it means you can carry on just making plays. And then you can target a card you control, a Sunvine card I think it is, Sunvine Link Monster, and it can attack up to the number of Link Monsters, is it? I think something like that. Times Sunvine Link Monster up to the number, attack number of times up to the number of 7 Avalon Link Monsters. I shouldn't have doubted myself. Yeah, so Sunvine can attack equal to the number of Sunavalon, so which means that Thrasher can attack a lot of times. But I gotta say, it doesn't come up that often. And then we're kind of on our board enders, we've got the Resurgent Benghalancer. So it can bounce a card, a monster, and you lose life points equal to that monster's attack. You can banish, if it's in the graveyard, you can banish link rating of 4 link monsters, so 2 Aromaseraphy Jasmine or Melias and a Dryas in order to special summon it back. You can only do that once though. And then Dryatrentiay. So Dryatrentiay adds the Sunavalon Bloom from your deck to your hand, and it can tribute a Sunavalon monster it points to in order to destroy cards on the field up to that monster's link rating. It can't be destroyed by battle, or sorry, it can't be attacked like any Sunavalon card, but it also can't be destroyed by card effects, which is means it's a bit more sticky than some of the other Sunavalon monsters. From there, we're playing 1 Aromaseraphy Sweet Marjoram. So when it's summoned, you get to add the blessing from your deck to your hand. Blessed Winds, so I should say. You can add other cards, but we're not playing them. If you gain life points, you get to destroy a card on your field, and your opponent cannot target plant type monsters on your field if your life points are higher than your opponent's, which is pretty good, and one of the things that tends to not come up that often. From there, we're playing 2 Rikkas. We're playing the 1 Queen Strenna and the 1 Teardrop. Teardrop is another flex spot, I would say. So if you wanted some other cards, maybe the Link 2 or something like that, I've definitely toyed with taking it out. But yeah, Teardrop, you can detach to tribute 1 monster on the field. Gains a little bit of life points every time, attack points every time a monster's tributed. Queen Strenna, detach 1 to add a plant type monster from your graveyard back to your hand, and if it's tributed, you get to special summon a plant type XYZ and attach it, and that one is going to be Hyperytron. So this, if on your turn, if you activate a monster spell or trap, you can target one of that equivalent card in your graveyard and attach it to it. We really want the spell because that way we've got spell and spell negation. And then you're on your opponent's turn, you can detach, if your opponent activates one of a card that's equivalently attached as a material, so if your opponent activates a monster effect and you have a monster attached to the Sacred Tree Beast, then you can negate that, and the same with the spell, and that's why the spell is Crux. So yeah, that's the extra deck. Jeez, it's got a lot of variance. Okay, so we've climbed to the top of the tree. As you can see, we've definitely cleared out a lot of the shrubs from the build. I feel like the deck is loads more streamlined now. We don't rely on external factors to trigger, our Sunavalon Link 1, which makes everything more consistent. However, we still have the same troubles. A weakness to a disrupted normal, and some obvious hand-trappable choke points, and a constant fear of the rock. So it's a 3 for the relevance. I'd love to give it more, and the high ceiling is great, but it is fragile. The deck is still fun to play, although, again, in a similar vein, once you're through your kind of opening play, you're not left with a huge amount of extra deck options, which can feel very limiting. Which was the same as last time, which is why, the Blessed Winds comes in so crucial after turn 3. So, it's a 3 for the fun factor. As for the cost, I still think that you get a huge ceiling, for the price. I've estimated this build at $140. Obviously, you could bump that up with, varying, hand trap and extra deck options. But I think there isn't a lot of space, to tweak the build, just because there's quite a lot of engine cards. So, is this deck worth watering or just ready for a pruning? Thanks for watching.